Welcome, Betty Williams, to Next Witness with me, Jeremy Evans, the series where our viewers get to know you, the Vice President of CLA, a little better. Let's get to it. The game is simple. Respond to the first thought to cross your mind and have a lot of fun. Ready? Let's go. Betty, where'd you go to law school?
I went to law school at McGeorge School of Law, which is part of the University of the Pacific here in Sacramento.
Nice. And then why taxation law?
Well, I don't know that anybody goes to law school with the goal to become a tax lawyer. Probably some do. I kind of fell into it. I clerked at a firm in Sacramento in their estate planning department, but they had this big tax case. It was 17 consolidated cases that was coming up for trial before the U.S. tax court. And they just hired this experienced tax litigator who was handling those cases. So while I was waiting for bar results, they assigned me entirely to that case. And I loved it. We split issues and witnesses, and he was not one of those bosses that had this big, you're a brand new lawyer, you can't go to trial. He'd only worked in the government, so he probably just didn't have the culture of, some of the different typical hierarchy of how trials are handled. But at any rate, we did a good job for our clients, and I really enjoyed the issues, and I never looked back.
I love that. Well, in similar fashion, what was the best advice you received as a new lawyer?
Well, one of the best pieces of advice I got was in law school. Can I use that?
Sure, absolutely.
It's a simple thing, but it served me very well in my advocacy. And that is, if you're asking for something, know what you want and start with what you want. So if you're writing a letter, it doesn't matter if you're writing to request something or to praise great service. Start with your point and then give the facts. So you might say, I'm writing to demand that my client's job be reinstated, or I'm writing to request damages in this amount, or I'm writing to advise you of stellar service from your sales associate, and then get into the weeds of why what the facts are and why you want what you want. And for some reason, that just works. It's served me very well over the years.
No, that's good. And then what did you do immediately? What was your first job after taking the bar?
So I stayed at that law firm. They offered me a job, but instead of doing what I thought I would be doing, estate planning, since I'd been drafting documents for them for several years at that point, I just went straight to tax, state and federal tax controversy.
I love it. And you're one of the best tax lawyers I know.
Am I the only tax lawyer, There aren't that many of us really, but
No, I know quite a few, and you're at the top of the list. So
well, thank you.
And then hopefully my other tax lawyer friends don't hear that.
I was just going to say you're inviting trouble, but
and then so all right, this is I love this question. When you passed the bar, who was the first person that you called or that you told?
I'm assuming they can cut some of this. So the night that I got bar results, I took the bar in the winter time. I graduated in December, so I took it in January, February. And there was a problem. There were power outages. There were all these problems. So when we were supposed to get the results like by 9 p.m., nobody was getting it. So I was out with my boyfriend at a dance. We did a lot of dancing. And it was probably close to midnight when we were driving home. And in fact, I had to have, this was, before cell phones were so prevalent. Gosh, I'm dating myself. You have to cut that. I'm screwing it up more now, so she really has to. So I had to actually have one of my buddies log in as me and tell me, what it was. And he told me I passed. I wasn't entirely sure I believed him. So the short answer to answer your question is, I called my parents. Yeah. I called my
Love that. I love the background though too. I mean
yeah. Oh God. We were all so anxious, and it's like, I'm not going to sit by the phone all night. I'm going to go dancing. But then when we left, it's like, I wanted, and one of my buddies had emailed me and said, I passed. And I'm like, how do you know? I can't get on. He said, I had Scott do it. And it's like, okay.
I love how you used a friend to find out. That's wonderful. I found out at a baseball game.
What happened?
I was in Colorado and I pulled up my phone and I figured, and I had sort of like, oh wait, the bar results are coming out. And I had been thinking about it, but I was at the baseball game, so I was kind of occupied. And so I looked it up on the phone and it was like, hey, your name appears on the pass list. and it was a great celebration. But
That's a really good feeling. And that is
Yeah.
like such a big deal.
it was wonderful.
Put so much into that. I mean, oh,
Yeah. All right. So now you got me thinking, what's your favorite dance then?
oh, probably nightclub two-step.
Okay.
Any swing. I like Latin. I mean, I like a lot. I like pretty much, I'm not, there's a few that I don't love, but I really like East Coast, West Coast swing. Nightclub's good. Hustle is good. Love hustle. That's
I love
fast.
that. That's awesome.
Maybe we'll find me a dance partner out there. I have to bribe my husband with with points.
Hey, we
We
might have to,
negotiate.
hey, we might have to have a dance-off contest at the
Right.
gala this year.
That'd be fun.
What is one thing you do for yourself every day? She's too busy. She doesn't do anything for herself.
Well, I do have my coffee. Like I don't leave my bedroom. I have a whole coffee bar in my bedroom. I don't leave my bedroom before I have my morning coffee.
Yeah, that's good. All right. You got a routine. That's good. And then last question. If you could change one thing about the world as a lawyer, what would that be?
Oh, one thing. I only get one. And as a lawyer, that's a good way. If you just said one thing you could change about the world, my answer would be very different. That's a hard question.
You can answer it that way too, if you want. Yeah.
Well, I think the thing I'd like to change in the world is the hate and the violence. There's, better ways to resolve our problems. But I think as a lawyer, I guess I'd like to see the law truly enforced fairly to all populations, all of our marginalized communities, all of the people who are not treated the same under the law. They just aren't. And then the bureaucratic piece of it, I'd like to see us figure out how to get through the backlogs and people need, relief in whatever their issue is sooner than later. And so if there were a way to try to get through some of the being bogged down with bureaucracy is the best way I can phrase it, but having continuances after continuance after continuance, and you have a right to a speedy trial, but that's almost constantly waived because more time is always needed. So
yeah, no, I agree. No, that's well said. And I lied a little bit, so I'm going to ask you one more question.
Okay.
What is your best experience as a member of CLA to date?
Oh my gosh, there's so many. Best experience.
Hey, that's a great answer. We could just end right there.
Well, I mean, there's on the personal side, of course, there's all the friendships and the colleagues and the people that you meet, the mentors along the way. Because I've been involved with the section, but as an attorney, I've been involved. This was a question about the volunteer work, right? Or as an attorney, yeah. So I've been involved before I went to law school, or when I was in law school, my boss made me get involved with the bar associations, which I did not appreciate. I didn't have a mentor, but what I did have was 2 young children at home. I was a single mom. So having to get involved with bar associations was not something I thought was a good use of my time. And I was wrong because I did get my mentors and I did learn that, I met colleagues I could ask questions about my area of practice or anything about the law. And then, of course, got experience speaking or writing articles or things that build your CV as a new lawyer. So I always tell, but honestly, if I'm truly honest about what my best experience is, it's for me at this point, what I really like is when I feel like I've done something that's helped somebody else. If I can give some pointers on how to be, find better resources as a lawyer or how to get a mentor, or I have mentees through the taxation section has a Odyssey mentorship program. And I have a couple of mentees every 6 months, they renew different, they offer the program. And so I feel like, I guess helping is probably the best experience is when somebody says to you, you know what, that really is something I can use back at my desk. Because to me, that's the goal is what can they practically use?
Yeah, no, I like that. And Betty, appreciate your advice. Very well thought out. And, thank you for being my first witness on this first episode of Next Witness, Betty.
First victim.
That's right. Our guinea pig. And so Betty is our vice president. This was a lot of fun. To our followers and members, if you want to be my next witness, please DM us today. and our team will be in touch.